I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the President Board of Trustees. The Village of Tinley Park, Cook and Will Counties will be held on Tuesday, April 12th, 2022, beginning at 5:48 PM in the council chambers. Everyone stand, please, for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Brennan.
Present.
Trustee Galante.
Here.
Trustee Mahoney.
Present.
Trustee Mueller.
Here.
Trustee Sullivan.
Here.
President Klotz.
Present. Thank you. Before we begin tonight's public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2023 budget, I just wanted to outline for everyone how the hearing will be conducted. During the presentation of the budget, please hold all of your questions until conclusion of the presentation. At that time, after being recognized by me, the chair, questions may be asked of the presenter. It is important that you wait to be recognized before speaking. I'd like to have staff get through the whole budget, so just make notes, and then we'll just tackle it from there so we don't interrupt Hannah's rhythm once she gets rolling. She's not going to want to stop. And then before receiving comments from the public, each trustee will be able to provide their comment in accordance with the rules of this body. Item number 1, Trustee Sullivan.
Thank you. Conduct a public hearing on the proposed 2023 fiscal year budget, May 1st, 2022 through April 30th, 2023.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Bill.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Colleen.
In conformance with the
Thanks,
state
guys.
statutes, a notice of public hearing was published in the newspaper on April 5th, 2022, and the proposed budget has been available for public inspection on the village website since April 8th, 2022. At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. And item B, present overview of fiscal year 2023 budget.
I will take that.
Thank
Trustee
you.
Sullivan.
Thanks, Hannah.
I just wanted to start tonight by first and foremost saying thank you again to our finance department, to Brad, and to our departments, department heads.
All right. Hannah, will you, hold on. Could you call the roll for the public hearing?
Roll call for item 1A. Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Please, go ahead.
Sorry about that.
No,
Thank you,
my
Trustee
bad.
Sullivan. So again, just wanted to start by saying thank you to our finance team and Brad and our department heads for their cooperation. We started this process back in November, so it's been about 5 months long. And it can feel like a very lengthy process, but overall it has felt very smooth. So a great team effort, and again, just thanks to everybody who helped make it feel as smooth as it did. To touch on the timeline, we presented the preliminary draft budget on March 15th at that board meeting. So now the purpose of tonight's meeting really is for the public, as a public hearing. So we made the budget available for public inspection last week on Friday. So tonight is for any questions and comments that the public may have. With that said, I don't have a whole lot to present tonight. It'll be very brief, and it'll be at a very high level. So since we presented the budget back on March 15th, not a lot has changed. At that time, the board didn't have much feedback that they wanted us to go around and really make too many changes. So really, all you'll see that's changed from then to now is the personnel requests that were approved have been pushed into the departmental line items. So that's where you'll see those increases. I have the all the different funds summarized, really just have them put together up here in case we do have questions. I do just want to move forward and discuss our total municipal government funds overall. So as you can see, we have budgeted revenues, and this does include the library. We have budgeted revenues at about $138.8 million. With budgeted expenditures at $193.3 million. So that may seem off, it may seem odd having more expenditures than revenues, but if you look at our beginning balance, you could see that our funds are strong, and even our ending balance remains strong as well. So you can see we are drawing down a bit on some of the reserves in terms of cash flow and transfers as well. Some of that is taken into consideration. But nonetheless, we remain very healthy. We move forward with a balanced budget in accordance with our fiscal policies. So just to recap, this slide is recycled from the previous presentation, but again, within the departments, we really had some consolidation that you saw throughout. We had some line items that made more sense to bring into general overhead. For example, line items that were relevant to human resources, so that way they can allocate items to one line instead of having to allocate them across all departments. You would see certain staffing increase. We really took a step back and evaluated our staffing needs, making sure that part-time hours were budgeted appropriately and that the benefits were budgeted in accordance with those as well. In terms of capital, again, the departments were directed to kind of avoid the wish list items, given the economic state of things. And a combination of roughly $20 million in the bond, ARPA, and Rebuild Illinois monies allowed us to fully fund most of our capital requests, many of which had been previously deferred because of COVID budget reductions. Just to highlight some of the major capital projects, our PMP program, we're excited to be able to fully fund this year. 80th Avenue Road and Bridge improvements. You'll have more phases of our LED street lighting replacements. You'll see 175th and Ridgeland utility relocations and work being done. That's a big ticket item. Bike path extension to the Park District's dog park, and then you'll see a majority of funds being pushed towards water and sanitary sewer infrastructure. So that's really all I have for you. Again, just wanted to keep it at a very high level. Any questions, we're more than happy to discuss and talk through. We will expect to have this budget finally adopted at our April 19th board meeting.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah. I think to make it easy, we will just go around the horn. Because we'll start with Diane. Do you want to start?
Yes, actually, I have some questions. If the questions I've sent out, if you guys have the answers already, I don't want to re-ask it, so just stop me. Unfortunately, this is the first time I'm really getting to ask some of my questions, so bear with me. And please don't take my questions as insults that I'm questioning anybody's anything. I'm just trying to make sure I understand it so I can vote properly. Your job is to, of course, spend the money as you feel needed, and my job is to make sure we're not overspending on parts of the taxpayers. So the first question I guess I had was on the reduction in headcount of 28. What is that 28? Where is that coming out of? We're adding 14, and you did give us that nice breakdown.
Do you know what department are you talking about?
It just says reduction 28. That's my question. What department are we taking 28 out of?
Hey, Mike. Let Diane. So I was talking to you. One sec. Just Mike, just let Diane ask. Thank you.
Can you be more specific?
Son-
as to
Well, on your
credit
personnel
facility?
summary, you have that we're starting with 440. We're adding 14, and you gave that breakout. I do have some questions there, too, but you have a reduction of 28, but you didn't give us the breakdown of where are we losing those employees? If we're losing 28 patrolmen, I guess I'd
It's
want to
not,
know.
I can tell you right now, it's not 28 patrolmen. I think the PD would be up in arms if it were,
I
and I
know.
don't think anyone in this room would support that. Yeah.
I just want to feel comfortable as where these
Yeah,
28 people are leaving.
The 28 is probably just general cleanup. Again, we did take a hard look at all of our positions, including part-timers and whatnot. Over the years, in our system and when we run certain reports, a lot of positions are left open. So as we've had a new HR director come in and working with finance, we have cleaned up positions. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily eliminating positions, but positions that have probably been vacant and unfilled for a longer period of time anyways. I would have to take a much closer look at it to
So
get you
what-
a better answer.
Thank you. What is the head count right now? Is it 440? Is that
Of
correct?
total employees, full-time and part-time, correct?
Okay.
Can you hold on one second, Diane? Just so everyone's on the same page, unless you're recognized by the chair, please do not ask any questions. Go ahead.
So could we get a breakout of where these numbers, I mean, I just would like a head
Yeah,
count to
the
know,
very back of
because
the budget
we are
is in there.
changing 28 and,
There is a staffing table in the rear of the budget.
okay. Does that break out the numbers
Correct,
then?
yes.
Can you roll them from the
It gives you history.
Is that in page, is that one of these pages you provided me?
It is in the rear of the budget, correct?
Hey, Pat, can you have one of those mics be by Brad and the other one for Hannah? And then if you,
Mine, I don't have page numbers on what was provided to me.
Yeah,
Is there
we're gonna
a
add
section?
page
Thanks,
numbers
Tom.
for the final budget. We just wanted to make sure that, should there be anything
Okay.
changed, we didn't want to paginate it yet.
I
It's
see
an
the,
appendix B staffing table.
I see that. So I'll look at that after this, and then
Yep.
I may have some other questions. My biggest question with adding headcount, of course, is just that, of course, that's a big expense on pensions and everything else long-term. Have we done everything we possibly could to make sure we need to add this headcount? That's always my concern. Trying to understand, we have a new position in the mayor's office, what that role will do compared to, going forward with the additionals in the other admin departments. So I was asking for job descriptions. Can I get that?
Sure.
Can I get that
And I
for,
just want to reiterate, it's not a new position. It's a position that has just been vacant for several years, and we're very thankful to have it back.
oh, absolutely, I'm sure, I'm not, again, just so everybody understands, my background is in finance. I look at the numbers and I'm gonna analyze. I'm not trying to debate anybody's, what they're capable of or anything else. I just want to feel comfortable.
excuse me,
That's all.
Diane, this is question and answer.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was just trying to make, I don't want people to continue to believe that I am trying to.
Diane, please, it's question and answer.
Okay.
You'll have comment.
Okay, thanks. I guess my other concern in general about this is I believe the strategic plan we're still following. Branding is still our brand. But I guess I'm concerned when some areas of the department's just not lining up anymore. Specifically, we're taking out all the signage. So we've spent a lot of money on consultants, on design work, on, the entire initiative that we're working on. And then when it gets to, we made a couple signs, I believe, and then we stopped. So I had asked about why we would not at least focus on the signs that we've already been told by businesses that they need, specifically in the downtown area. I mean, our focus it has been, since we created this, to do that downtown area. And it just seems like we've really taken off focus. And I don't know if you're gonna talk about the Capitol later, but like they saw, some new items, the River Walk, a lot of great ideas. I mean, they sound like nice ideas. I don't know anything about them, but I'm just concerned that we got these new items popping up, and we took off just things that I would not expect to be taken off, if we're still gonna do the branding and that.
So a couple things. I would first and foremost say that we do still have a heavy focus on the tourism. Even last meeting, we had Donna bring before the board our proposal for the website design to move forward with our tourism website. So I wouldn't say that we have lost focus. I think we are continuing to push full speed ahead, given the reallocation of our hotel motel tax fund dollars to our internal tourism efforts. So Donna and her team are definitely working there. In terms of the signage, we have deferred it. We haven't taken it out. So the money is, the hope is that next year we will be able to use funds for the wayfinding program. But at this point in time, we see different priorities. And at least that's the understanding that we have, generally from the board. No one else has really brought this up or made a comment. So, our thought was that having deferred it to next year and not really having any other input on the choice to do so, that we'd be able to focus on some other priorities this year and hope that maybe in the meantime, we can also make some headway with the plaza and some of the other plans for downtown.
Just to bring up that, being part of marketing and branding, that commission for quite a few years, listening to the downtown businesses, they feel the need. I mean, they are telling us that a lot of those signs were needed before, and it was nice that they were gonna be happening. I'm
Excuse me,
concerned that
Diane,
we're.
could you save that for comments, just question and answers?
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to make sure the board is aware that,
Well, no, you'll get it, we'll do questions and answers, and then you'll have a time to give comments for, like, stuff like that.
okay, I'll try to remember to bring that back up.
I'm sorry?
I'm just trying to remember what I need to bring back up. You know, I just wrote all the questions as I was finding them. You know, again, just, you know, a little worried that we're, the trolleys. Can I ask specifically about those? I know that was my idea, and Bill will not like me to bring questions up about that, but, okay, if we have two buses that are here, I believe they're used mostly during the day. We do have townships that provide bus services also, that I did send something out about looking into overlapping services, that maybe we could look at either working with them and changing that up, but I understand we have trouble finding bus drivers. So now we're gonna go buy two trolleys, isn't that gonna be the same situation? We're not gonna have drivers? Or, so, and also, I'm noticing now that I'm spending more time walking, that, most of the time those buses, I mean, I do see them going by and I do love them, the marketing on them, but there's only one or two people in it. Is there maybe some thought of maybe buying a van to do that kind of thing and using those buses for what we test out the whole trolley idea before we just spend a lot of money? I'm trying to find resources to move the money back to the signage that I'm hearing our businesses want. I'm just concerned that we're putting in a lot of wants over the needs that we are hearing from the businesses themselves. So I'm trying to give you options of maybe redirecting some of this capital, is what I've been sending out. I'm sorry, I don't mean to
No,
not ask you a
and if
question.
I could just give you a brief response on that
Sure.
too. We understand your concerns there and hear you. I would just say that, keep in mind, just because it's approved on May 1, doesn't mean we're gonna go out on May 1 and buy the trolleys. We know that there is a hard time hiring, you know, bus drivers, things, we know we have the two existing buses. It will take time for us to develop a plan internally regardless, and that will be presented to the board before we move forward with any movement on that and in terms of purchases. So it's not something that we're just jumping into, it's just something that, you know, and ideally, it is something that we see that could happen in this upcoming fiscal year.
Mhm. Thank you. I want to make sure I have all my questions. I'm just checking all the questions that, I wanted to ask about the sick leave. Could you guys say that we don't, is that, we don't keep that on the balance sheet? How, is that because it's rolls over, can roll over multiple years? Can,
Sick leave does not roll over.
so we don't, in the write-up, it just said that you put it on the balance sheet, and you don't put it on the balance sheet until paid. We don't have to accrue for that? That's just not a requirement, statutory requirement, I just want to verify.
If you want to talk about our sick leave policies offline, we can. I don't really necessarily see how it's relevant to the budget conversation, with all due respect.
Well, but your writing up in here is stating that, I'm just confirming that's
In the
correct.
strategic plan, where
Well, in your, do you need the exact page number it's on? I mean, I read it in your financial write-up of what we're gonna present for the plan. It just said that sick leave, it says, I just wrote a note, I had wrote for Brad is how is sick leave earned and why don't we? Because there was a note saying that we don't put it was an exception to why we don't do it. I want to make sure that that's a statutory requirement that is okay to do it,
Are
just.
you referring to somewhere in the transmittal letter? Just probably a general explanation, or is it in the,
I'd have to find that, I'm sorry, I have
Okay.
to find the page for you. Is that
No worries.
important?
well, it would be helpful for context.
Okay. I'll find that and send that to you.
Yeah, no, not a problem.
And again, also written in here is just, the financial review on a monthly basis. I just, I know, sorry, that's probably more of a comment, just that I don't think we really review that. I had a question on the LED lights. It said it was a new cost. I think that's probably you, John. And I just had written a note that I wanted to know if that was a cost savings, why it's a new item, why we're moving that, again, why is that moving up in priority? Is that a cost savings?
This isn't a new item. We've replaced the street lighting for probably the last 5 or 6 years.
Let me take-
Every year is pays of approximately $300,000, which I think averages just over 100 light fixtures. So each streetlights for a different section of town, but this project, when presented to the board each year, explains what phase out of approximately 10 it was gonna be. So
Okay.
we anticipated this to be a 10-year program to be sweeping across the whole village.
Okay, so even though it says new, that's just part of what you already presented?
It's
Correct.
not a
It's
carryover.
New phase.
Correct.
New phase,
It's
gotcha.
too much to do it all at one time.
I got you, thank you.
And John, what kind of operating savings do we realize out of this?
When this was first presented, and as technology continues to improve, but when it was first presented, it was, for every 3 new fixtures, that was the same consumption of energy of one of the existing fixtures. So,
Yeah.
once we're all said and done, we are continuing to work with ComEd on, reallocating our billing with, the energy out there. But, as I understood it, that was gonna cut our average cost of street lighting, which is approximately $300,000 a year, to $100,000 once we get all of the lights installed. But like I said, as the years go on, technology is getting better and it's showing to be even, more cost, savings than we had originally intended.
Fabulous, thank you.
Do you have more, Diane?
Yes, I do. I was curious, I just want to verify, with moving to the 2-day event for the Block Party, Caribbean Beach Party, those costs are all considered in here, the police cost, the public work cost is already in our budget for all that.
Correct.
And I was just curious if you recall, if there's what that extra cost is for going to a second day?
I can go, it would take me a second to go to the specific line item, but
I was just curious of what it's gonna cost us to do it, just, when we're reviewing what the revenue is that we bring it in, it would be nice to know. The other question is on the music venue. So, I know when we started here, there was a renegotiation of the contract for us to recoup all our funds. So when I look at some of the actuals that are coming through, I'm just curious, how much money, is everything on the music venue page strictly for the music venue? And all the other costs were just operational police costs? On the
about
police,
in the specific fund, in the theater fund.
in the police department's
Correct.
budget?
So that one, because it is within the police department, that is largely for the recoup of our operational costs associated,
So-
including, our officers and staff.
So 235 Music Theater has a budget of 1.4. So is that cost there what it costs us for things that we're responsible for the music venue? Is
Those
that
are
what that
costs
is?
that we incur in relation to the music theater. That is,
Non-reim-
again, we're looking at the expenditure side of the budget. That does not reflect the revenues, or any monies that we get reimbursed for those services. And most of these charges, the $1.4 million budget in this division of the police department does get reimbursed.
Okay, so on the music venues page, under police, the 1.4, that gets reimbursed? And then where does that flow in the budget on the revenue side? What account?
That comes into the general fund, into the revenue line items.
And can it be something broken out that we can see that in a report if I requested that? I mean, just to see that, things wash clearly is a control? It's a significant amount of money. So then when I look at the regular police department, under administration, I guess I'm only concerned there because the actuals are coming in quite significant, and I don't see that in the budget for the next year. So are we budgeting enough, is there a change?
We've taken note of those first 5 line items, and we're going to take a look at that after the meeting.
Okay, so you'll get,
I suspect that something was miskeyed.
okay,
And again, it's just the year-end estimate. It is not, and those those numbers are far in excess of what was budgeted, which makes them look very,
Well, that
very
was,
much
yeah.
out of skew. They couldn't even exist to to those levels. So something got miskeyed or something
Okay.
entered into the wrong account. I'm not sure which, but we'll get it straightened out.
Thank you. I was concerned about the miss of the $3 million in the actuals that, I mean, that it looks like right now, so. Okay. I believe those are the only questions I had, that are true questions of the budget. Again, I would like us to redirect some of the capital back to, my biggest fear, I guess, is there any concern that this company?
Diane?
I mean,
That's more of a comment. If you could save that for your comments.
okay, this is the question, if I could turn it into a question. Do you have any concern that we've spent significant money on surveys and consultants for the branding and the whole initiative, that we're now gonna be waiting 3 years for the company that did the design work of these signs, that we're not gonna have to start all over again?
No.
And-
I'll just, the pricing's 3 years old, so we've requested new pricing. So the pricing's 3 years old, it's not the same pricing, so we've requested the company to provide new pricing, which will probably be more. We asked them to break it out also.
Thank you. I believe those are all my questions.
Trustee Mueller.
Just one question for Kimberly. Are you excited about your plan table, and what is it gonna provide for us?
It's a step forward in the future as we're going towards electronic plan reviews, which a lot of the private consulting firms are accustomed to. I've had the privy of seeing the fire department utilize it and hearing their feedback. It can only be utilized by the building department, but also the planning department. So we have two divisions that can use that. It just really allows us to take us to use that technology. And if anyone has worked with large-scale plans, you can directly write up on it. I know I've been on phone and Zoom calls with an architect going, go to page A1, and we're trying to talk about this little section. It's just a really good, way now to write up plan reviews, and this is what our contractors are kind of using now, and, we, have seen through the fire department using it very well, and we've patiently been waiting our turn, and, again, we are literally gonna be, getting most of our big commercial projects are coming in electronically now, but we're using our little monitors to view them, so this would be a good investment, for the department.
Awesome. Thank you, Kimberly. And it's really all the questions I've had. I've been asking questions since around March 13th, 12th, so I've got all my questions answered. Thank you.
Great job, Mike. Great job. Trustee Brennan, do you have any questions?
No questions at this time. Likewise, my questions were all answered in the meantime, so appreciate everyone's hard work on this.
Same thing, echo what Bill said. I don't have any questions. You guys have been going through this since, I think, the first week in November. We've all been made aware of this, so I don't have any questions. Clerk O'Connor.
No, no questions at all.
Trustee Sullivan?
I do have a question. In regards to the LED lights, I used to work in property management. I used to work with condominium large associations replacing their old lights with new lights, and we would get them rebates in like an incentive program. Is that something that we take advantage of? Is it something that's offered on a village, like municipality level?
Yes, from phase one, we have taken advantage of DCEO funding. Now, if you're aware, DCEO kind of removed themselves from that program, and then ComEd took up a rebate incentive. Now, it's nowhere near as advantageous to us as DCEO was offering us, but we continue to get a rebate on that funding.
Okay, thank you. And everything else kind of been answered along the way, so thanks for anyone I reached out to. I know Bill Brennan, I asked him a couple questions. He helped me out with some of the police questions I had, so that is all I have. Thank you.
Trustee Dennis Mahoney.
no questions over here. Just appreciate all the efforts and hard work everybody put into this. Thank you.
Mr. Brady?
Yes, I believe I'm directing this to the chief, Chief Glatz. We talked about it, or I brought it up back in September-ish, no, October, actually, tied into the Fire Prevention Week, that we talked about having a 120+1 anniversary of the fire department. I couldn't find anything on that, that we had talked about, anything funded for it, anything being done about it.
I believe during some of our budget hearings, I think we were gonna include the village's anniversary along with the 120 years. And I believe we were gonna put something aside.
Yeah, so there's nothing specific in there, but I can say this year, one of the things that we wanted to make sure was that, again, the departments had their funding back for meetings, conferences, things along those lines.
Right.
And we also, in the manager's office budget, did increase our line items to make sure that we had some funding available for employee-related parties, so it's something that we can look into further.
Okay, great, thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
But, and I would say, I would add that, you know, with the fire department's historical anniversary, I believe in September, starting in September of 1901, you know, tying it in with Fire Prevention Week would be the ideal.
Well, I think the thought was that we had discussed at one time, was trying to do something on a large scale, something like in the summertime, because you can't trust the weather. I mean, we were talking about having, you know, a dunk tank for the chief, and didn't we discuss that? And games and everything, exploring, you know, the fire department and all that
Perhaps
they've done.
tied in with the block party.
You know, and done that over by the training tower. You know, have an area, pick a date, and do that, and have all the different displays. We even talked about, these are all, and thoughts about having a parade of getting the other departments come in, some of the older equipment, so on and so forth.
Hey,
So-
Bill, if you have a comment on some of the stuff, can you just wait till your comment, unless it's an actual specific question on the budget?
You're right. Excuse me,
Thank you, sir.
scratch everything I just said.
Can you repeat it? in
Sure.
5 minutes? All right. Any-
Got notes?
Is that it, trustee Brady?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Colleen?
Oh, at this time, we'll receive comments from the public. There's none. All right. Item number D, close or continue public hearing. Take a motion for that?
Yeah. So now we'll, sorry? You don't want to close the public hearing first, then we'll take the comments? Yeah.
Well, the motion.
So can we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved?
Second?
Thank you. Madam Clerk, you call the roll?
Roll call for item 1D, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. So next, if anyone wants to make comments, well, again, we'll just stay in order. Diane, you want to go first?
Thank you. Just want to make the same comments that I kind of made. I would like to, I have sent some emails requesting some of the capital be looked at. I was curious about the fire fund. I believe the fund that, I was curious if more items in the fire department can get put to the fire fund. There's a fund, that was, you know, that self-funds itself. Some of the items under, I was just curious how some items go under that fund and some are going under the regular firehouse. And I'm just curious if that could be moved. So I may send you something on that. That's just a comment. You know, like I said, I was curious about the head count. I just think it's important for us always to consider every option, every possible option before we add more staff, except for in the police department or the fire department. But when administrative type of positions, if there's a way to make a change, to do an improvement, if we could, you know, go that way, I'd rather see it that way. Again, you know, I just feel like that our strategic plan is what we put together, and we asked our managers to do everything they can to align to this. And I just feel some of the areas maybe we could align a little better, or we're gonna change the strategic plan in the future, near future. I just think there could be some better lines up. I hear everybody got their questions answered. I didn't. That's why I'm asking them here today. I didn't do nothing. I actually had our plant closed on the 15th. I did give notice that I was not going to be able to be at that meeting, unfortunately. So this is the only opportunity I have actually to ask. I have to do it in a public forum. If I don't get approval from the village manager, I cannot ask a question to a staff member. So unfortunately, I don't always get I didn't get all my answers, but I will be putting together a list, and I'll send out, I'll put what's left that I didn't get answered back out to everybody. Thank you. That's all I have.
Trustee Mueller.
Yeah, I just want to thank Pat, Hannah, Chief Tilton, Klotz, Brad, Donna, everybody at the table, including John and Kimberly. They've been very helpful. I've ran into you guys in the hallways. I had plenty of opportunity to ask questions, and get very quick feedback, even had some meetings set up to discuss things. So thanks for helping coordinate that, Pat. I think this process went very, very well. I will just say that hearing that this is the first chance to ask questions about this, I think that's just a little bit ridiculous. This process started on March 12th for all of us. We did have that meeting on March 15th. I think it's kind of crazy that we've got a trustee coming to a commission meeting on April 4th for marketing and saying that they haven't heard about any of this stuff or where it is in the process. I just don't think that holds water. This has been going on for quite a while. Like I said, during my questions, I started asking questions and emailing folks after I got the budget draft on the 12th, and have been receiving very good feedback from everybody involved, but I do appreciate all the time that you guys took to answer my questions. So that's really what I wanted to say, and if folks are interested, you can look at on 46 minutes and 50 seconds of the April 4th Marketing Commission meeting. You could see some of the comments that were made where, I'm not sure when this has been discussed. That's just not true, that this is theater and politics more than just good governance. So thank you guys for being professional and working with me, and I'm looking forward to this budget.
Thank you, Mike. Are you done?
I am.
Trustee Brennan.
I'll just echo what Trustee Miller has said, that thanks to all staff, Hannah and Brad especially. We've have a long history of being a fiscally conservative town, and I think we, knocked it out of the park again. I will say, two of the biggest things were, with the fire department, getting a couple of those firemen back. I think, two of the fourth guys on the trucks, really kind of dramatically improves the safety of, keeping our employees safe. And I think that was, something that was feared that wasn't coming back, that, Chief, I'm glad that you included that in there. And, I'm glad that the board supported that, because that was a big initiative of getting those two guys back. So, I really do appreciate that. I will just ask all village staff, to do whatever you guys can. You guys have always done that. As far as grants go, that being said, Deputy Chief Tilton did a great job. He did secure us a grant with the Will County State's Attorney for getting us a new police canine, in addition to the one, or actually getting a second one in this budget too. So that'll also help reduce some of our overtime with call-outs when officers can be on two shifts, and we're not only relying on one officer for that type of stuff. So, do appreciate you guys all keeping an eye out for any grants you can, and special thanks to Deputy Chief Tilton for securing that aid from Will County State's Attorney for us. So, but other than that, I would just, like I said, just if there's anything else that we can be doing to be getting those grants, I mean, that's only going to help our financial standing. So appreciate all you guys' hard work, and great job and another great budget.
Thanks. Are you done, Bill?
Yep.
Thanks. Tom, you want anything you want to say? Nancy?
Yeah, just real quick, just thank you to all the department heads and of course, all of your support staff for all of the hard work you've done. And I know especially these last, 2 days have been extremely trying with all the additional drama. But I would like to extend a special thank you to Deputy Clerk Laura Gadet. She's just amazing. Always makes sure that the clerk's department runs very, very smoothly. And I appreciate all her help and assistance and hard work, always.
I agree.
You done?
Yes, I am.
Colleen?
Nope, just, thank you to everyone who, all your hard work, just like everyone else said here. There's a lot to read, a lot to take in, so thanks for answering all the questions. I know I didn't have many, because I'm sometimes just not quite sure sometimes which questions to ask. But it's good to be able to lean on people, and you don't find my questions silly ever, so I appreciate that. And, so good job. And that's all for me.
Thanks, Colleen. Dennis?
Once again, just want to thank everybody in the departments, all the heads, everybody underneath that helps support everything. You guys are always ahead of the curve. You guys are always forward thinking. You guys are always on top of things. It's really a big deal to make everything mesh together. So I appreciate everybody working together on this. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, a lot of time. You guys have been putting a lot of work for several months and even prior to that as well. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. Mr. Brady, do you want to repeat what you said earlier?
Well, I don't want to belabor the obvious, but certainly being the last one to speak, I concur with my fellow trustees on all the praise that they gave our staff. And once again, another fine job. This is the 5th budget that I've gone through. I think it's one of the easiest ones, so we thank you for that.
Is that it, Mr. Brady?
Well, if you want more comments concerning
You got 4 minutes and 32 seconds if you like.
Okay, well, we can do that real quick. There's no problem doing that. We can, just more questions about the 20th anniversary and all that we've already, by mistake, discussed it then, and I won't repeat it now because you haven't forgotten what I said. That's it, sir.
Thanks, Bill. So, couple comments and, from what was said tonight and just in general about staff. First one I'm going to discuss is the hirings, because I take that very personal. Hannah and Pat and our HR has done an amazing job hiring people, and just so everyone knows, the reason they've been hiring so many people is because so many departments have been running on a shoestring, and you can't continue to ask people to function at the level, at the high level they've been functioning, right? And one of those hires that was an extra hire, per se, was our deputy chiefs. We were gonna hire one deputy chief, and the whole panel, not Bill or myself or any, the whole panel was just blown away after we had a chance to meet Deputy Chief Tilton and Rafferty. They knocked it out of the park, right? And it was more than what we were expecting. And so internally, they discussed, how do we take 2 exceptional people and hire them when we only had one? Well, previously, for people that don't know, we used to have 2 deputy chiefs, and then someone removed one of the deputy chiefs. I don't know, was that Chief Neubauer back then? Maybe they went down to 1. And so everyone understands how we did it, is we also had a commander's spot that was open. And so that's kind of where the role where they filled in, is how we were able to ask Tom and Larry to both come aboard, which has just been a blessing, I think, for the police chief, to have them doing 2 different roles and specialties in each area. Our public works, if anyone would go around and follow and see what those guys do, it's amazing on what they get done for the little amount of staff and people that they have. John now has less people than when he started, 23 years ago. And they're doing better now because they're just more efficient, right? You just have to be efficient and do more with less, right? And one of the other important, to me at least, departments is our dispatch center. if anyone would go in there, and I welcome anyone to go in there and just sit in there for an hour and watch what Lisa and her group and team, what they do on a daily basis. It's constant chaos, you know? You can't even, but, you know, you go to pour yourself a cup of coffee, the phone's ringing, it's amazing. It's a very hard job. Not anyone could do that job. Luckily, we have Lisa, and then she took over as EMA coordinator, which doesn't seem to have hurt our dispatch. You're bringing in people, so it's a very stressful job. You know, police officers, firemen, and dispatch are very stressful jobs. And so, yes, we have been doing a lot of hiring because everyone's working so thin. So, thank you, Hannah and Pat and our HR for all that. Without that, people just, I mean, you can only push people so much. Next thing I wanted to comment is the mayor's office. That is not a new position. That position has existed for that I'm aware of, for the last 50, 60 years. The only reason it seemed like there wasn't is because it was vacant. The previous mayor had 2 assistants that quit on him. So because of COVID, they did not fill that position at the beginning of my term, and they couldn't get anyone to take that spot at the end of the previous term. So that's the only reason why that's back. And she took over, again, another hire that was in the budget, because all that fell on Pat Carr's assistant and Hannah. They were just overwhelmed. It was just nonstop. You can only ask people to do so many jobs. The next one, in regards to, I'm kind of gonna echo what Mike Mueller said. You know, that this, I think the comment was at the beginning from Diane, it's the first time I've had a chance to look at it. Well, again, what Mike said, he said that you had a plant closing. I sent an email on March 14th at 1:59 PM to Diane. I could fill you in on executive session discussions if you'd like to call. On February 2nd, she didn't come to that executive session either. She left. I sent an email at 4 PM. Sorry, February 1st. That feel free to call. We could set up a meeting. We could discuss all the executive session that you missed. The response was, thank you for offering to discuss. Hoping to have my village phone back this week. At that time, I would like to schedule a time with you. That was February 5th response. It's now April 12th. Nothing was ever done there. The other comment I want to make is in regards to the wayfinding and the marketing. And echo again what Mike was talking about. The wayfinding, or I think it was very unprofessional. An elected official goes to a marketing commission and makes comments in regarding staff of cutting something from a budget without discussing it with them first. Donna has worked her tail off, and a very simple question and phone call a day, a month prior to, could have explained all that without, now it's a public document, and now it's on a recording, making it seem like it was just cut and no one knew. Well, Diane, you are the liaison for the marketing commission for 1 year. You've never brought that up, and you're well aware of how a budget works for you to come and say that this is the first time you've heard of it. You were the chairman, you were the finance chair for 2 years, and being the chairman, that budget process starts in November of every year prior. So it goes for 5 months prior to coming to the board, and the finance chair sits with every single department to discuss everyone's line items in their budgets. You know the process. You can't come at the 11th hour and ask staff to just change something. It's just not fair. And the budget itself, the finalized budget, was given to us on March 12th.
The first preliminary draft, correct?
Okay, and you originally sent it out in November. So, the other thing I want to talk about, the trolleys. so we can clear that up. The trolleys, the buses, switching them out for cars. These buses are purchased for our seniors and people that are handicapped. Those are all lift assist buses that pick up people that are in wheelchairs. So we can't have cars for these individuals. First bus was received October of 2018. The second bus was ordered on August 20th, which most of this board was here, other than Colleen and Dennis that voted on it. And we received it on April 21st. I have discussed with my assistant, and I've talked with Hannah and Pat. I believe there's a small overlap of services with the township and with Bremen and Orland, and see if maybe we can reduce a day, or however it works. They have to go through the schedules and see if it could work. Again, that was another job that Lisa Cordon was in charge of. So we are trying to see if it is some type of duplicative services, so we could save a little money there, which maybe have the Orland Township and Bremen Township help us with taking some of our seniors to their, to their events, to their doctor's appointments, they're getting their prescriptions and stuff, so just so the board knows. So we are, internally, we are looking at that to see how we can utilize our buses better. Other than that, I am done. Item number 2, receive comments from the public. Would anyone from the public care to comment? Let the record reflect there are none. Can I ask the board to make a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Mike.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Madam Clerk, you please call the roll to adjourn?
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. We are adjourned at 6:40 PM. Thank you, everyone.